Welcome everyone, I'm your host Grace Ravyn. Tonight's video is all true stories, but they leave us thinking, were they dreams or not? Number 1. For basically my whole life I've experienced night terrors, which when I was younger was coupled with sleep paralysis. So often upon waking up from one, I would get up, turn on as many lights as possible and walk around in order to fully wake up before attempting to sleep again. One night I had a particularly intense dream about a man and his son terrorising my family. We were attempting to drive away, but as much as we tried we could not. They somehow kept pace with our car. I can remember waking up extremely panicked, turned on the lights in my room, went to the bathroom, turned the lights on in there, and finally ended up sitting on my couch in the living room with every light on that crossed my path. Now my TV was angled in such a way that you could see the reflection of the kitchen and our sliding glass door to our patio. At this point I would swear to you that I was fully awake and out of my dream, but when I looked into the reflection on my TV, I saw the man and his son leaving through our sliding glass door. Number 2. I was maybe 5 years old and we were visiting my grandparents. I was sleeping in the spare room on this big brass bed. There was a pull-out bed that was usually stored under it, but it was pulled out and set up for my brother. In the opposite corner there was a small closet. In the middle of the night I woke up to the sound of hinges creaking. I thought it might have been the springs in the pull-out bed, but my brother was out cold and not moving. I looked over to the closet and saw it was slowly cracking open. Then the little man popped his head out. It was a bit too big for his body with big eyes. I couldn't see him clearly because the room was dark, but I could see those eyes and they looked right at me. He then shuffled forward and I remember the sound of that shuffling. He stopped after a foot or two, looked at me again, crouched down, then shuffled forward a few more feet. When he was a couple of yards from the bed, he dived under the rollaway bed. I heard him moving through the metal and the springs and then felt as if he moved under my bed. Then it was quiet. I couldn't breathe when I saw the second little man step out of the closet. He did the same thing. Look at me, move forward, look at me, dive under the beds. I was frightened and didn't know if I should try to run or scream. I ended up screaming when the third man showed up. He rushed back into the closet before my mum could come into the room. She turned on the light, checked the bed and the closet and found nothing. As an adult, I know I must have been hallucinating, dreaming while my eyes were open. It happened a few more times in my youth, but with different dreams, but this one stuck with me. Those little men were marching across the room looking at me with their big dark eyes. I will never forget it. Number 3. When I was little, around 3 years old, I would have dreams of another little girl who lived on my bookshelf. She had short hair pulled to the side, she wore a simple dress and shoes with buckles on them. She always appeared as a yellow translucent person. We were friends and I would sit on the floor and she would sit on the top of the bookshelf and look down at me. We always had fun, but when she got mad she could zap me. It would tickle like being tickled badly by a friend who you wanted to stop. I would yell at her and run away. Fast forward 20 years. I was on vacation with my parents. We were talking about old dreams and memories when the tickle girl was brought up. I reminisced about the dreams with her and my parents' faces went funny. When I asked what was wrong, they said, "Honey, those weren't dreams. You used to sit and talk to your bookshelf all the time. We would hear you laughing in the other room. Other times we would hear you get so mad that you would yell, but you were the only one in the room. It gives me chills to this day." Number 4. A few weeks ago, my girlfriend and I were sleeping when I woke up to her saying, "What are you doing?" She sometimes talks in her sleep, but this sounded so coherent and urgent that it jolted me awake, and I asked what she was talking about. She then woke up and said she thought she saw someone at the end of the bed. Thinking it was just a dream or semi-awake hallucination, we thought nothing of it and went back to sleep. About an hour later I woke up and saw someone standing on the bed with the sheets wrapped up and twisted to their neck. I didn't know what to do, but the first thing that came out of my mouth was, "What are you doing?" My girlfriend then woke me up. I'd been dreaming the exact same thing that she did and said the exact same thing. Number 5. When my son was about 3 or 4, he had an imaginary friend in his room who he used to talk to all the time. He would tell us stories about things she would tell him and we'd hear him chatting to her at bedtime. We thought it was pretty cute. After a few months, my son said he wasn't friends with her anymore. We figured he was over his phase of seeing her, so we're surprised to hear him still talking to her at night. Then he started not wanting to go to bed and having really bad dreams. At some point we ended up asking a lot of questions about her. We had assumed she was a little girl, but apparently she was 47 years old. He said that she lived in the wall and he stopped being friends with her because she wanted him to call her mummy. Her name was something like Margaret or something like that. She wanted him to come and live in the wall with her. He had told her he didn't want to talk to her anymore and she wouldn't go away. We eventually moved house and he stopped talking about her. The funny thing is, when I was pregnant with him living in the same house, I used to have dreams about a lady sitting at a dining table in our bedroom, except it was obviously a different era and the room was not a bedroom at the time. The lady used to knit and make me listen to her giving me parenting advice, while her two 20-ish-year-old sons sat at the table quietly. It was freaky. Thank you for listening. If you're interested more in dark videos such as ghosts and horrors, then please go over to my other channel, Shrieking Ghostly. I will leave the link in the description. Also, if there are any videos you would like to see, then please leave your suggestions in the comment section. Thank you.